The ocean's depths have always been an enigma to me, a realm of both fascination and fear. As an experienced scuba diver, I've explored countless underwater wonders, from vibrant coral reefs to eerie shipwrecks, but nothing could have prepared me for the chilling encounter that awaited me on that fateful day. It was a warm summer morning when I decided to venture into the azure waters off the coast of a remote island. The sun's golden rays danced upon the gentle waves, enticing me to dive into the unknown. I donned my scuba gear, double-checking every strap and valve, ensuring that my equipment was ready for the adventure ahead. As I descended into the deep blue, I marveled at the breathtaking beauty that surrounded me. Shoals of colorful fish darted among the corals, and the occasional glimpse of a majestic sea turtle gliding gracefully added to the magic of the moment. The water was crystal clear, allowing me to see for great distances in every direction. As I swam along the ocean floor, I noticed a mysterious cave in the distance. Its exterior was adorned with an array of exquisite formations, sparkling like diamonds under the sunlight. It was a sight to behold, drawing me closer like a moth to a flame. Curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to venture into the enticing cave, unaware of the horror that awaited me within. The entrance was grand and inviting, like the jaws of a mythical sea creature, and I found myself captivated by the allure of the unknown. With each stroke of my flippers, I drew nearer to the cave's opening, my heartbeat quickening with both excitement and trepidation. Finally, I crossed the threshold into the cave, and the world transformed around me. The sunlight diminished, replaced by a haunting darkness that engulfed everything. Yet, within the gloom, an ethereal glow emitted from the cave's walls, casting an eerie luminescence that seemed to come from within the very rocks themselves. I continued to swim forward, mesmerized by the phosphorescent dance of colors around me. However, my excitement soon turned to concern when I realized the tunnel seemed to twist and turn in every direction, forming a labyrinth of passages. My sense of direction faltered as I ventured deeper into the cave, making it nearly impossible to retrace my steps. With each passing moment, the water became murkier, reducing visibility to a mere few feet. Panic began to grip my heart, and I decided it was time to turn back. But as I tried to find the exit, I was met with a disheartening revelation. The way behind me had vanished, and I was trapped in this submerged maze. Fear washed over me like a tidal wave, and I could feel the air in my oxygen tank depleting rapidly. My heart pounded in my chest as I desperately searched for an escape route, but every path I took led to a dead end. It was as if the cave itself was mocking my attempts to break free. Just when I thought all hope was lost, I felt an eerie sensation brush against my left foot. Panic consumed me as I looked down into the murky abyss below. All I could see was the faint outline of something massive moving just beneath me. My mind raced with terrifying possibilities, and I struggled to control my breathing. Suddenly, without warning, an unseen force grabbed hold of my foot, and I was yanked downwards into the darkness. My mind reeled as I tried to comprehend what was happening. In the dim light, I caught a glimpse of a massive, writhing form, a colossal squid, its tentacles coiling tightly around my leg. Paralyzed with terror, I could do nothing but watch as the creature held me in its grasp. Time seemed to stretch into eternity as the squid's immense eyes locked onto mine, conveying an otherworldly intelligence that chilled me to the bone. Just as abruptly as it had ensnared me, the squid released its grip and retreated into the inky blackness. I felt a mixture of relief and confusion as I continued to ascend, the minutes on my oxygen gauge ticking away like a ticking time bomb. Finally, I broke free from the confines of the ominous chamber and found myself back in the main tunnel. Exhausted and on the brink of panic, I made my way to the surface, performing the necessary decompression stops as I ascended. The sunlight welcomed me back, but I couldn't shake the fear that the giant squid might surface once more. Overwhelmed by the near-death encounter, I hurriedly swam back to the safety of the shore. My mind was haunted by the surreal experience, and I couldn't help but wonder if I had stumbled into some sort of underwater realm. a domain of nightmares hidden beneath the tranquil surface. Story 2. The Labyrinth. As I stood on the boat deck, gazing out at the vast expanse of the deep blue ocean, I felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. My friends Mark, Carl, and I had heard rumors of a beautiful underwater cave hidden in the depths, and we couldn't resist the allure of such an adventure. We were experienced scuba divers, having explored numerous dive sites over the years, but cave diving was an entirely different beast, one we were determined to conquer. With our scuba gear securely fastened, we took a deep breath and plunged into the breathtaking waters. The sensation of weightlessness enveloped me as I descended, and the world below opened up, revealing a mesmerizing world of marine life and vibrant corals. The sunlight penetrated the depths, illuminating the underwater paradise we found ourselves in. After about 10 minutes of swimming, we spotted the entrance to the fabled cave. A mix of excitement and nervousness washed over us as we exchanged thumbs-ups, silently affirming our readiness for the journey ahead. Mark, always the boldest among us, gestured that he would be the first to enter, and we followed closely behind, our diving lights cutting through the darkness. As we ventured deeper into the cave, the water gradually grew murkier, and the light dimmed with each passing chamber. The thrill of exploration filled us, but we were acutely aware of the dangers that came with cave diving. Nonetheless, our adrenaline-fueled spirits propelled us forward, pushing aside any thoughts of apprehension. Each chamber we entered seemed to lead to another, like a labyrinth of mysteries waiting to be unveiled. Mark's enthusiasm was infectious, and we pressed on, our caution ever present, but the allure of the unknown tugging at our curiosity. As time wore on, Carl and I felt a growing concern about finding our way back. Our oxygen levels were steadily decreasing, reminding us that we needed to return to the surface soon. We signaled to Mark, suggesting that it was time to head back, but he seemed undeterred by our worries. His adventurous spirit drove him to explore even further into the smaller, darker chambers of the cave. Reluctantly, Mark finally acquiesced, and we began our ascent, sticking close together. However, the murky water now made it difficult to see far ahead. After about 5 minutes of swimming, I turned around to check on Mark and Carl, only to find them missing from my sight. Panic set in, and I immediately went back down a bit to search for them. My heart pounded in my chest as I strained my eyes to see through the foggy water, but it was no use. The cave's twists and turns made it impossible to spot them. My oxygen supply was also running low, and I knew I had to make a difficult decision: continue searching or head back to safety. Reluctantly, I chose the latter, praying that Mark and Carl had already made their way out. I swam back up, my mind racing with worry and fear. When I finally reached the mouth of the cave, I scanned the surface, expecting to see my friends already there, but they were nowhere in sight. Alarmed, I wasted no time and immediately called the police, explaining the situation and our ill-fated dive. They dispatched a rescue team with professional cave divers, but I couldn't shake the sinking feeling in my heart. The thought of losing my friends in this underwater maze was unbearable. The rescue team entered the cave, battling against the same murky waters that had hindered me. Time seemed to crawl as I waited anxiously on the boat, hoping and praying for a miracle. After what felt like an eternity, the team emerged, and my heart sank as I saw Carl being carried in their arms. They had found him in a small chamber, disoriented and nowhere near the exit. It was clear that he had lost track of Mark and me amidst the dimly lit passages. My heart broke for Carl, and the fear for Mark's well-being intensified. The rescue team continued their search for another 2 hours, scouring every inch of the cave, but Mark remained elusive. The darkness of the cave seemed to reflect the darkness that now consumed my heart. As the realization of our dire situation settled in, grief washed over me like a relentless tide. We never found Mark, and the mystery of his disappearance haunted us all. Story 3. The Giant Monster. I'm not entirely sure why we chose that particular location for our honeymoon, but I suppose it was the sense of adventure that lured us in. Daisy and I had always been thrill seekers, and what better way to start our married life together than with an underwater escapade? Little did we know that our honeymoon would turn into a nightmare, one that still haunts my every waking moment. The morning sun cast a warm glow over the serene beach as we prepared for our scuba diving expedition. Excitement danced in Daisy's eyes as she helped me adjust my scuba gear. The turquoise waters beckoned, and we couldn't wait to explore the wonders beneath the surface. Hand in hand, we walked into the shallow waters and let ourselves be swallowed by the vastness of the ocean. It was like entering a different realm, one where time seemed to slow down, and all that mattered was the world beneath us. As we descended into the deep, the underwater landscape unfolded before our eyes like an intricate painting. Colorful fish darted past us, and corals swayed gently with the current. Daisy and I communicated through hand signals, sharing our excitement and wonder with each other. The sense of euphoria and joy was overwhelming. We were finally one with the ocean, free from the constraints of gravity, gliding effortlessly through the liquid expanse. The world above was forgotten, replaced by a sense of tranquility that enveloped us. But as we ventured further into the depths, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were not alone. I tried to dismiss it as my imagination, but an uneasy sensation gnawed at the back of my mind. Still, I didn't want to ruin the moment for Daisy, so I kept my concerns to myself. We explored the underwater world with awe and caution, always aware of our surroundings. Daisy's infectious laughter filled the water as she playfully mimicked the fish we encountered, and I couldn't help but chuckle along with her. Time seemed to blur, and we lost track of how long we had been underwater. The ocean's beauty was hypnotic, and I felt like I could stay there forever. But then, the tranquility was shattered by a sudden, bone-chilling growl that resonated through the water. My heart pounded in my chest as I turned to see what had made the eerie sound. And there, emerging from the shadows, was a massive, monstrous figure, a giant shark. Its dark, soulless eyes locked onto us, and an instinctive fear washed over me. "Daisy, stay calm. Slowly start swimming back towards the boat," I signaled urgently. She nodded, her eyes wide with terror, and we began to move backwards. But the shark was relentless, closing the distance between us with each passing second. In that moment, panic seized me, and I knew we had to take drastic action. I reached for the emergency flare we had brought along and ignited it, hoping the bright, fiery signal would scare the shark away. But it seemed to have no effect on the massive predator. Desperation set in as the shark circled us, its powerful presence sending tremors through the water. My mind raced, trying to think of a way to protect Daisy. Then, the unthinkable happened. The shark lunged, its razor-sharp teeth grazing my leg. Pain shot through my body, and I screamed through my regulator as I fought to keep the shark at bay. In that moment of chaos, I made a split-second decision to push Daisy away from the danger. With all my strength, I thrust her towards the surface, praying she would make it to safety. But before I could follow, the shark struck again, its jaws clamping down on my leg with a force that was unimaginable. I felt the bone give way beneath its relentless pressure, and an excruciating pain washed over me. The water turned crimson as my blood mingled with the ocean's depths. With my last ounce of strength, I kicked at the shark, trying to fend it off, but it was no use. The predator was relentless, and my efforts were futile. I felt myself being dragged down into the darkness, my world growing dimmer with each passing moment. As I succumbed to the darkness, a single thought consumed me. Daisy, where was she? Was she safe? I prayed that she had managed to escape the terror that had befallen us, but the void enveloped me, and everything went black. When I finally regained consciousness, I was in a hospital bed, my body engulfed in bandages. The pain was unbearable, and it took me a moment to gather my thoughts. Memories of the attack flooded back, and with them, the heart-wrenching realization that Daisy was not with me. Frantic, I asked the nurses about her whereabouts. but they had no answers. The search and rescue teams had scoured the area, but there was no sign of her. She had disappeared without a trace, leaving me with an empty, agonizing void in my heart. Story 4. The Welder. In the inky darkness of the ocean's depths, our deep-sea welding team worked diligently to repair an offshore oil rig situated 200 meters below the surface. As experienced divers, Bruce and I had faced many challenges together, relying on each other's expertise and camaraderie. But little did we know that this dive would forever alter the course of our lives. The welding process demanded precision and concentration, and the rhythmic hum of our torches reverberated through the water. Suddenly, a panicked voice crackled over the radio. "Liam, Bruce, we accidentally dropped a 2-ton pipe into the water. Get out of there quickly!" Fear gripped me as I frantically gestured to Bruce, and we began to swim away from the projected path of the descending pipe. But it was too late. The massive metal cylinder was hurtling toward us with terrifying speed. With a deafening crash, the pipe struck Bruce, the force of the impact ripping his helmet off and shattering the glass. My heart sank as I witnessed the catastrophic scene before me. In that moment, I knew that Bruce's chances of survival were slim. I swam to him as fast as I could, but my heart sank further as I saw his lifeless body drifting in the water. Panic surged through me, but I pushed it aside, determined to bring him to safety. With great effort, I managed to wrap my arms around his motionless form and began the arduous swim back to the research vessel. The weight of his lifeless body made each stroke feel like an eternity, but I pressed on. The crew members above were waiting for us, ready to assist. Finally, we broke the surface, and they hoisted Bruce's body onto the deck. Their faces mirrored my own grief and shock as we attempted to revive him, but it was evident that there was nothing more we could do. Bruce was gone, his life claimed by the devastating impact of the pipe. The crew members treated me for shock and exhaustion, but my mind remained fixated on Bruce. He had been my friend, my partner, and now he was lost, forever bound to the depths. With heavy hearts, we devised a plan to bring Bruce's body to the decompression chamber, a necessary step to avoid decompression sickness during our ascent. We treated his body with utmost respect and care, preparing to transport him safely to the chamber. As I swam, cradling Bruce's body in my arms, a mixture of sorrow and disbelief consumed me. The weight of his absence was overwhelming, and I couldn't help but feel responsible for the tragic accident that had claimed his life. With great effort, we finally reached the decompression chamber, and I placed Bruce's body inside. The gravity of the situation was palpable as I closed the chamber door, and I knew that I would need to stay with him until the decompression process was complete. Alone in the chamber with Bruce's lifeless body, time seemed to stand still. The hum of the machinery served as a somber reminder of the reality we faced. I was trapped in a space that now held the memory of a dear friend, a space that had become both a refuge and a tomb. As the hours passed, my thoughts were filled with memories of our time together. Bruce had been an exceptional diver and an even better friend. His laughter and camaraderie would be sorely missed, and I couldn't help but feel an immense sense of loss. When the decompression process was finally complete and it was safe to resurface, I emerged from the chamber with a heavy heart. The ocean that had once been a source of wonder now seemed to hold the weight of my grief. The loss of Bruce was a painful reminder of the risks we faced as deep-sea welders. Our profession demanded a profound understanding of the ocean's power and unpredictability. And while we continued our work, the memory of Bruce would forever be etched in our hearts, a constant reminder of the price we paid for the opportunity to explore the ocean's wonders. Thanks for watching the Haunted Sketchbook. Be sure to check out any of the videos on screen right now if you're planning on not sleeping tonight.